stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and unborn.
Recommended action that the Board of Education approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second. On the question? All in favor? Aye. Oppose, abstain, motion carries. We'll now move into my president's report. So good evening, everybody. Thank you to those of us who are joining us in person and those who are joining us on live stream or video. I hope that everyone in our community had a wonderful Thanksgiving and you're looking forward to the upcoming holiday season. We have a lot of great events in the coming weeks and some updates from our PTAs. But before we get into that, I wanted to congratulate the following teams that met the requirements set by the New York State Public High School Athletic Association for the Scholar Athlete Team Award. And those teams are the boys cross country, girls cross country, field hockey, boys soccer, girls swimming, girls tennis, and volleyball. And I'd also like to congratulate the cast and crew, including our very own board member, Molly Levitt, on their performance of the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. So congratulations, Tigers. I'd also like to note that we will begin our discussion of the 2023-2024 budget this evening, as we will hear a preliminary overview from our Assistant Superintendent for Business, Ms. Harrington Cohen. And as for the upcoming events, there will be a variety show in honor of Debbie Liebert tomorrow, December 2nd. There will be 4:30 and 7:30 showings here at the high school with a number of faculty, staff, and administrators performing, including the people sitting to my left. So I would look forward to seeing lots of people there. Also tomorrow, Chef, the Crone Harmon Education Foundation, will be hosting their winter fundraiser at the Green Growler from 7 to 11 p.m. There will be a $20 donation at the door, and there will be a prize for the best ugly holiday sweater. The high school winter concert will be held on December 6th at 7 p.m. And the PVC winter concert will be held on December 14th at 7 p.m. Now I have some updates from our PTAs. From SEPTA. SEPTA had a very successful forum last month, giving parents a chance to meet the special education team with speakers from each of our buildings, including guidance counseling, psychologists, speech, PT, OT, CPSE, and the CSE chairs. So if anyone has any questions or wants any information about that was shared at this forum, you should reach out to chsepta@gmail.com. And SEPTA has also started a parent caregiver support group. It is a safe space to share experiences, resources, and lean on one another for support. It kicked off 2 weeks ago, and their next meeting will be held on Friday, December 9th at 9:30 a.m. The meetings are held at St. Augustine's in the parish house next to the church at 6 Old Post Road North, and there's no RSVP needed, so they encourage people to show up. So for more information, again, you can also reach out to them on email, which is chsepta@gmail.com. From the CET PTA, their gift card fundraiser is ongoing and orders are due on Monday, December 5th. The order forms can be found on cetpta.com. On Wednesday, December 7th, the CET PTA invites members and volunteers to join at La Katrina at 7:30 p.m. for their December meeting. Refreshments will be provided, support grants will be voted on, and they will be giving an update on the year. On Friday, December 9th, marks the return of the Holiday Craft and Fun Fair. It will take place at CET at 6 p.m. with crafts, foods, and fun. Complimentary gift wrapping will also be available, and tickets can be purchased at the door. And the faculty and staff at CET also have a very fun month planned, and the PTA will be participating by providing a holiday luncheon on the week of December 19th. From the PVC PTA, they will be having an in-person meeting on Monday, December 19th, with the time and location details to be announced. Along with the meeting agenda, there will be a holiday cookie potluck and other festivities, so stay tuned for more information there. And from the high school PTSA, the PTSA will be hosting a staff luncheon, a holiday luncheon on Friday, December 9th, and they will also be having their meeting in person on December 14th. Later this month, the PTSA will be sharing what's needed to get my New York State driver's license information and promoting an online driver's ed class. given by an outside company, Ivy League Drivers Education. In addition to being a source of information for parents, the PTSA will also receive a donation from Ivy League Drivers Ed for each student that signs up. And the PTSA is also looking to connect with the student government to plan its next social events for students. So, thank you very much. This concludes my president's report, and we will now move into hearing of the public. We ask that anyone who would like to address the board use the podium and state your name. You can give your email or contact information on the sign-up sheet provided, and we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes.
My name is Ed Riley. I live in Truesdale Drive. Really wanted to spend a lot of time on 2 items. Is the COVID experience. And it's a school district experience. It's an individual experience. And it's a community experience. As well as the national experience. And a health crisis. And the worst part of the health crisis is a crisis of confidence. It involves, it's complicated, but it involves kickbacks to government officials where they get to share what we would call in business. We would call them renewals, finder's fees, sharing commissions, etc. That's where a government official responsible for drug policy gets to share the profits of the corporation promoting inoculations or vaccinations, which is a policy in the United States government, to the detriment of simple, less costly drugs to ameliorate the problems of COVID. And then the adoption of more radical techniques as opposed to something more moderate as time progressed with the COVID vaccine. So I want to encourage this district, perhaps you've done it, to give us, the public, a copy of your lessons learned. This is what I learned as a person who actually got COVID and went to Northwell. When you say go to your doctor, you don't go to your doctor, you go to a corporate doctor. Almost all doctors are tied into a corporation in this area, Northwell, Montefiore, whatever. They work for a corporation, don't work for you. Therefore, they have to follow the policy of that corporation. So my experience when I got COVID, they didn't say you can take hydroxychloroquine. You can take ivermectin when you first get this to ameliorate. You should overdose on vitamin C. If you had your requirement of vitamin D, your likelihood of dying is 0. They never said that. What they did is they developed a policy in this state that killed 13,000 to 15,000 nursing home patients and isolated people in the most vulnerable time when they died. And then this board, not this board as a whole, but some members in this board wanted to insist that some of these ridiculous policies as instituted in the school district continue well after.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I live on Penfield Avenue, in case anybody cares. I'm members of the Board of Ed and District Office. I'm here today to talk about teachers. I promise I will keep this short relative to how much I usually talk. But I come forth here to offer words of appreciation and recognition of the teachers and staff members who are stepping up in light of recent staffing changes in the high school. Teachers do so much for all students, and I appreciate and acknowledge them for going above and beyond and taking on new class sections and co-curricular activities. I encourage everyone to recognize and thank their teachers for what they do and what they continue to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. All right. I will now turn it over to Superintendent Walker for his superintendent's report.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Good evening, everybody. It is always my pleasure to get a chance to share some of the fantastic things happening around our district and in our schools through what we call Points of Tiger Pride. And we'll just give Tracy a minute to pull up the presentation. There we go. And I echo Sarah's wishes. I hope that everyone had a really wonderful holiday, and I wish everyone a tremendous start to the winter season. Would mind just getting to the first slide. Tracy, if you would.
Oh. Well, it's such a great picture of
Sorry.
that.
It is a great picture.
Like, do you have the thingy?
Yeah, let me see. It's
Go
not
backward.
quite working, but now we're good. Okay. All right, here we are. Okay. No, perfect. So beginning with our segment where we introduce and welcome new members of the faculty and staff to our community. This most recent Tiger welcome we issued to Matt Lyons, who's a new member of the evening custodial team here at the high school. And I have to say, this is one of the best parts of my week, is getting a chance to spend 5 or 10 minutes with new members of the staff to learn about them. And then to get a chance to celebrate and welcome them to the community. It's really a special part of my job. Matt is a terrific guy, has an outstanding work ethic. One, I knew that because we've had a chance to see his work, and two, I learned about Matt that he and his wife have a new puppy named Coda. And so we had a discussion about training new puppies. And we got extended into this training of new puppies experience. And finally he was like, Steve, this is great, but I have to get to work now. My shift has started. So thank you, Matt, for keeping me focused, and welcome to the team. Matt joins us from Raymore and Flanagan, where he spent 6 years working his way up from store clerk to operations manager by the time he had left Raymore and Flanagan to come to us. And so we welcome Matt to the Tiger community. Thank you very much, sir. Well, it worked for a minute, Tracy.
Should you be giving out training advice?
That is a very fair question. Actually, mostly I was just fishing for advice from him. Also had the honor to be a part of the welcoming of the 27th and 28th inductees into the high school's Hall of Distinguished Graduates earlier this month. And to get a chance to be among students and faculty, community members, board members, to hear Joy and Mallory's words of wisdom for our students was inspiring to me. Their messages around everything from everybody, no matter how successful they are in life, struggles. Everyone goes through difficulties. No one, I think, as Mallory said, has it all together. Really powerful messages about the trajectory of our lives from two remarkably successful graduates. So it was really a privilege to get a chance to meet and spend time with both Joy and Mallory. And I, again, on behalf of the entire school district, congratulate you both on your induction into the Hall of Distinguished Graduates. Also had the opportunity to take part in the grand opening of the re-envisioned PVC library, and whether it's part of the future facilities project or other conversations that we have in our schools, we talk a lot about the re-envisioning of space, making an impact on what happens in that space. And the library PVC is a great example of that. I get a chance to be in that room fairly often, and to see our middle school students as engaged, as happy, as excited as they are to be in that space, to use it for genuinely collaborative and creative forward-thinking purposes is it's such a pleasure to see. It's a great credit to Michael and the entire team, Linda First and others who have envisioned that new space. I want to make reference to Michael and his finest cowboy getup, spending time with Brian Healy and Chief Nikotopoulos and other local leaders who were part of the grand opening as well. So congratulations to the entire team at PVC. Also, as was referenced earlier by Sarah, had a chance to attend the Sunday performance of the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, and would just echo again what a phenomenal, entertaining, hilarious, poignant, sweet performance that was by Molly, by all of the cast and crew. Congratulations to Sarah O'Brien, Michael Katzman, and everyone else who was a part of making that a reality. I will also say that one of the really unique and special things about this show was that members of the audience were asked with not a lot of notice to come up and be part of the performance themselves. I know John had that pleasure for the Friday night performance. I heard you broke a leg, sir. Well done. Erica Fiorini and I had that pleasure on Sunday, and I will say it was absolutely terrifying. Completely terrifying. So Molly, tremendous credit to you and the entire team who make it look really, really easy when it most certainly is not. Very, very well done. As Sarah mentioned earlier, tomorrow night is a special opportunity, I think, for us as a school district community to come together to enjoy some laughs and some wonderful entertainment in memory and in recognition of the legacy of Debbie Liebert, a phenomenal, beloved colleague at CET and throughout the school district community. I want to thank Marlena Horton and the CET Kindness Club for all the work that they've done in putting this together. We had, by we, I mean Denise, John, Jared, Rachel, and I had the experience of being part of the dress rehearsal today. So we got the full understanding of the range of performances that the public will be seeing tomorrow. I think there are 16 performances, right? I can safely say that 15 of them involve some real talent. The 16th, that's highly questionable. It will be, I think, memorable at the very least for everybody who comes. And so I hope that everybody can find some time for either the 4:30 or the 7:30 performance. You can get tickets either using the QR code or at the door tomorrow night. And most certainly after watching our performance to close the show, you may need to head down to the Green Growler to enjoy some way to de-stress and forget what you just saw. So we encourage everybody to join us down at the Growler after the variety show tomorrow to thank and to celebrate the contribution that Chef and their entire board makes to our school district community. I also will say I'm really interested to see if somebody has an uglier holiday sweater than I do. And so I'll be pairing that with a very ugly hat as well. So I look forward to seeing if anybody can find an uglier sweater pairing with a hat tomorrow than I can. Also want to make a quick reference to another wonderful event happening at the high school tomorrow in the Aux Gym, blood drive from 9 a.m. until 2. I want to thank a member of the senior class, Miles Taylor, as well as our outstanding school nurse, Gina Fitzsimmons, for the work that they did in coordinating this. So if you're interested in making an appointment, please visit redcrossblood.org. And finally, anytime I speak to any group in any setting, anywhere at this point, I want to make sure, as I always do, that we ensure that all members of our community have marked their calendars for Tuesday, December 13th. I truly hope that this is a special and potentially monumental evening for the district. I look forward to hearing from the public and the community with their feedback on the work that's been done by so many people over the course of the past few months. So many folks who envisioned this project, helped the communications to come to life, who designed flyers and palm cards and newsletters and videos, banners, helped to distribute them, helped to share information, who asked great questions, who have been engaged throughout the entire process. I hope everyone in the community has received their hard copy Reflections newsletter and had a chance or will have a chance to view some of the most recent videos, including the 2 released today from Mr. Plotkin and Dr. Dubak, describing the potential impact of the project at both the high school and PVC. And please be on the lookout tomorrow for Mrs. Bianchi and Mr. Goldman sharing their vision for the impact of the project at CET and Spencer. So thank you again for everyone's engagement in the process, and make sure to vote on the 13th for the Tigers of today and tomorrow. That is my report. Thank you, Sarah.
All right, thank you very much. I will now turn it over to Superintendent Ms. Harrington Cohen for an overview of the budget.
Good evening. So we are here already. As many of you know, budget development is a year-long process, and our goal is to begin that process as early as we can and as late as we can to ensure that our planning is accurate and we have some agility should something trip us up along the way. As a team, this process is in full motion. We are in our 2nd round of budget meetings with our principals and directors, and we've begun compiling our historical data and preparing projections for the 23-24 school year. This evening, I'm going to review the annual calendar from like a macro perspective, followed by a month-by-month look at budget presentations and collaborative opportunities. So as you see here, September, October, and November, we'll begin developing assumption and forecast, meeting with principals and directors to identify their visions, needs, and priorities. In December and January, our preliminary budget discussions and presentations will commence. We'll analyze the governor's executive budget, evaluate departmental requests to assess their financial feasibility, and then begin prioritizing them for budgetary consideration. In March and April, we'll have our annual budget work session. Final pension rates will be released, and we will place a hold on spending to refine our fund balance projections, because remember, our fund balance projections not only have an impact on this year, but our ability to fund any shortfalls in the coming year. And followed by in April and May, we will get our final state aid numbers, adopt our budget and our property tax report card, followed by the public budget hearing on May 16th. Yes,
I'm sorry, can you stop because it doesn't seem to be going forward on live? Can I just see something first?
okay, you want me to try?
Hold on, wait, no, it's not showing on the thing, it's sharing.
If you can get it up to the January, and I'll just begin.
Stop sharing and you sharing.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay,
Stop. Okay, I'll go to share. Here's you, right?
that's me.
This, share. Let me just do from beginning.
And let me see if I can do it from the clicker once you get there.
I apologize, it's just that it seems to not,
I think our battery on this is a little low too. Oh, there we go.
I did that.
Okay.
So,
Are you able to put it
How
in
come I can't?
presentation mode?
there, let's
There
do
we go.
this. Okay.
Wonderful. Okay,
Thanks,
thank you. So before we get into the month-by-month calendar, our mission throughout this process is really to provide transparency and opportunity for our constituents to understand and engage in the budget process. So in determining our calendar for this year, we looked at some viewership of our presentations to determine their effectiveness, and we were somewhat surprised in the statistics. Most notably Budget Saturday, where we found it was a 4.5 to 5.5 hour presentation. And we found that there were only 22 views on the presentation, with an average of 3 minutes per viewing, and a cumulative total of the 5+ hour presentation was just over an hour, 73 minutes. So with that said, this year we've proposed some more frequent budget presentations in place of Budget Saturday, with the belief that creating more manageable size opportunities for viewing would create greater public consumption and understanding. Again, this is just up for discussion. But that was our thinking behind that. So, okay, what's that? No?
Not working.
Well, I'm still in January, so.
No, it's not on for the live feed. And on mine.
Oh, understood.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
I don't know what's the issue.
So no budget Saturday, huh?
One more try.
Last year was fun.
Yeah, I was late, but yeah, I was. I got in by the chinny chinny. That was a riveting 5 hours.
Try to, actually, try sharing the screen, the one above that,
This one?
Yep. Share that instead.
Good.
Last conversation.
Right. No, there's still a lot to hear about it.
Current size.
Let's do this.
The only for the CET portion.
I just want to see if it's moving or not.
Oh,
It
wait.
does seem to be moving now.
You're right. Okay, we're good. We're good. Can you tell your comment? I don't know.
No worries. Thank you, Tracy.
Okay.
So again, this is, we're gonna go into the monthly calendar, and this only represents public board meeting sessions. It doesn't include any of the presentations that we have with our PTA, Rotary, Senior Citizen Group, our union leadership, our student government, et cetera. This is just the public board meeting. So January 5th, we're proposing an initial budget presentation where we'll look at budget priorities, revenue assumptions, and expenditure assumptions, and some preliminary governance budget. We're proposing Budget 101 Community Forum on January 19th. This will be an overview of the budget development process and basics of school finance. We've had this every year, and it's for those who attend, they've enjoyed it. February, we will have on February 2nd board meeting, we'll have our budget update, followed by the 16th, where we'll have our building level instructional budgets for CET, PVC, and the high school. In March, our first meeting will consist of technology, pupil personnel services, and health and athletics. Followed by the 23rd meeting, which will be complete departmental budgets covering central and business administration, facilities and transportation, instruction, PPS, again, technology, physical education, health and wellness. Then in April, we will put forth the superintendent's proposed budget for adoption, followed by the administrative budget vote on the 25th. I just would like to note that these dates differ from our budget calendar. I'm sorry, our Board of Education calendar right now, because BOCES has changed the date of their meeting. And we have some guidelines that we need to follow with regard to the budget process. And also the 6th, I believe, is a holiday. So we are looking to revise the board's calendar. And based on that revision, I created this schedule. Then May, we have our public budget hearing on May 4th, followed by the annual vote at the high school on May 16th. That's our 10th celebration. So that's a view. Also, we have our budgetquestions.org. If you have any questions about the budget, our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Questions? Neil?
Yeah, these dates that you've mentioned, those are all, I think, previously scheduled board meeting dates, correct?
Correct.
So I guess administration is suggesting that at business meetings, we will devote a portion of time, as we've done today, but even more in-depth to the subjects that you mentioned. And at the scheduled work sessions, we will devote part of the work session, if not all of the work session, to budget. That's basically how you. So my question, I guess, is when I look at the instructional budgets, February 16th. One of the advantages of having a budget Saturday is that the administration had until budget Saturday to revise, refine, adjust the budgets before presentation to the public. Do you feel you'll have enough time to, in essence, be able to set that and explain in a way that will not require major, if any, changes after that? You know, this is a 3 or 4 week period in which, or more, in which different departmental or building budgets would be presented. So I'm concerned that, you know, we're kind of front loading things to make it difficult for you to you and your team to do their job.
I appreciate that, and we have discussed that as a cabinet and feel that we can meet this calendar. Of course, if there are any changes that need to be made, we have our follow-up presentation where we do the complete departmental budget. So if any changes or modifications need to be made, they can be made there and or, which we have done in the past, prior to the budget adoption.
Anyone else have any other questions? Thoughts?
So is, am I reading this correctly, that last year Budget Saturday was in March, right? And that was when we really saw the complete budget for the district. What you're proposing is starting the process in January,
Well.
and kind of breaking it down into.
Actually, what we've done in the past is most of our budget sessions have been a summary of the entire budget. So we've summarized the entire budget for each session, where I think it's more valuable to take a deeper dive into the different components of the budget. In the first initial budget session, I'll do an overview of where we stand as far as tax-based growth factor, our revenues, our expenditures, pension, and health liability, et cetera. I'll do a broad overview. We'll talk about any of the initiatives that have been shared by our principals and directors, maybe as far as the direction and vision for the budget. And then we will go into, a deeper look at each of the buildings and the subsequent departments. We move the departments later because, of course, pupil personnel services and facilities and grounds, they are a little bit more complex. So I feel it's important to hold them off because they have so many more variables.
Yeah.
And just to echo, if I could, Denise's point and the overall thinking here is, it's based around, I think, really two goals. One, how do we make sure that the board has a complete and thorough understanding of every aspect of the budget throughout the process? And two, how do we best engage the greatest number of community members? And so when we talk to the folks who actually do engage in Budget Saturday, the theme that I have heard is, well, I just wanted to see the transportation discussion, or I just wanted to see CET's budget. But asking folks to scroll through what was a 5.5 hour video, I think dissuaded some folks from engaging in that way. If we're able to say on February 16th, if you either come to the meeting or watch the video, you're going to see at the beginning the CET budget. And I'm making this up, March 3rd, it's the transportation discussion. We feel like it gives folks a better way to access the information that they're coming to the meetings to hear.
So just looking at March 2nd and March 23rd, previous slide. March 2nd, it says technology, PPS, and athletics. March 23rd, at the bottom, last three bullets is people, personnel, services, technology, and physical education, health, and athletics.
That will be a full overview of each of the departmental budgets,
And
more
okay,
of a summary.
so basically,
overview.
that will sort of be, we've talked about it before, now we're gonna come back
Put it all
and
together.
remind you of what we talked about in January and February, and remind you, and you'll see it. You can overuse word holistically.
How it relates to the whole budget, absolutely.
Okay, got it.
But earlier in February and then in March, we'll be able to do more of a deep dive on those individual, on the building budgets and then in the department
Okay,
budgets as well.
and so the other thing is that on the 19th, the community forum is prior to January 19th. Is basically invite the community to meet with you and board members and whoever else, not as part of a presentation, just to kind of explain and. Okay,
Right, I'll do a little presentation, I'll do like a quick budget 101
Right.
overview, and then it would be more for discussion with the team.
First, I'd like to commend the administration for looking at revising this process. I think this process is going to be more effective than the way we've done it in the past in terms of being transparent and And being engaging,
Mm.
much more so than the way we've done it in the past, so I appreciate that. One question I had is when will, because I know that people will ask, when will co-curricular activities be covered? Is that done as part of instructional
That will be done with the building level budgets.
with the
yes.
building level budgets? Okay, thank you. So separately for each building. doc.
Yeah,
Just a quick question on the budget 101 sessions. I haven't attended one in the past, and so I don't know. My specific question is really just about how they're publicized. How do people know that they're happening? Are they recorded? Are they streamed? How accessible are those? That kind of thing.
so we generally do a K-12 alert. We'll do maybe a Facebook feed, live feed, going over the process. That'll be in, multi-language with most of our presentations. And then it's really open for discussion.
Mhm.
you know.
There is a recording that's available after the fact, or is it? only
We have
live?
recorded some and not others.
Do you think you'll record this one?
We haven't talked about it, but
Yeah.
I certainly can't think of a reason why we wouldn't. I also think that putting together the slides that would align with that kind of broader overview of the process then allows us to replicate that at presentations other places, so that
Yeah.
it's not just discussion of the budget, but also just how do you put together a school district budget and how do you cut through a lot of the more complex terminology. So then there's creating a resource that can be replicated in future.
That'd be great. I
presentations.
think
Yeah.
that's the intention, to just make it as accessible as
Mhm.
possible.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Have they been well attended in the past? Not really. Okay,
Again, we've been in COVID for 3 years.
sure, yeah.
So the first one, I think we had about 6 people for the first one pre-COVID. And then after that, they were slim.
But I think you incorporate that when you do your talks to the PTAs and
Mhm.
such, so I think that it's not only 6 people that are seeing it.
Sure.
And they are very effective at communicating the
Yeah.
budget to their.
The community discussion always incorporates a component.
And I do get a lot of questions through the email budgetquestions.org. But I think recording it would be a good idea.
Are you looking for sort of a thumbs up, thumbs down from the board in terms of that, in terms of officially moving on from Budget Saturday?
Kind of, yes, and then what
So
I will
does
do
anyone-
what I will do thereafter is I will create the traditional budget calendar
Yep.
that we can put forth for our December 13th meeting.
Right, and then
No,
we can move to adjust those, because we'll need to move a resolution to adjust those dates on the calendar as well. So does anyone have, before I ask for thumbs up, thumbs down, does anyone have any other thoughts, questions, comments?
Yeah, I mean, so this is an opportunity to delve a little bit more deeply into the budget and start the process a lot earlier than we, I think, normally have. So that would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, just to be sure, and I'm sure we can do this with the work that Denise and administration have done, when we're talking about one part of the budget and how it may interrelate or interact to another. Building instruction, and how does that interrelate to co-curricular or phys ed? Particularly when we're talking about trying to do some team teaching and interdisciplinary, right, which may be phys ed and an academic, quote, core academics. So just, we want to be sure that we're not siloing
Mhm.
our discussion such that we're not.
And that's why we put the building level budgets together, and we anticipate that it will be somewhat similar to what we've done during Budget Saturday.
Okay. I guess the only other question I have is, in years past, we have had soda bread delivered to us. So I see that.
the most
March-
important part.
Yeah, March 23rd is close. Okay, so you gotta put the
Yes.
order in.
We will speak to Rochelle, get that ready.
And Joe's.
Maybe we need to start letting her off the hook. even if she's retired.
Joe's wife makes some mean coffee cake, like it is this thick.
Oh, yes. we do.
With, it's a crumb, it's a.
I was
crumb
pretty
cake.
good,
I think the crumb is bigger than the cake and it is unbelievable. So I could have a discussion with him about blessing us with some of that.
All right, so then, thumbs up, thumbs down, everybody?
Yeah.
Josh, Anna?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just would ask then that, in lieu of having like a complete presentation done on one day, that if any updates are made along the process, just because it is starting so much earlier, if we could just, I guess, include an update portion to every presentation so that we can go back if something has changed.
Well, I think that is what the 23rd March one is, because
I-
it will
I'm
go over
looking at
everything.
that, but I don't see that that actually incorporates like the building level budgets was my,
Oh,
the
It's just
instructional,
the
yeah,
instructional,
the
right.
instructional, okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Denise, but I'm assuming in January, a lot of the revenue functions are essentially, they're not gonna change from January 1.
Yeah, we have the
Yeah.
executive budget
Oh.
that comes out in January, but it's not finalized until April.
right.
State aid.
Okay.
More state aid, which is.
So like in January, state aid is gonna be potentially the governor's proposed budget and then the jockeying that goes on with the legislature trying to get it increased and then
April
move
first.
things around before the April 1st deadline.
Yeah.
There are changes that happen as late as April 1st, or if they're like they used to be, June, July.
And those changes are not recognizable at first glance, like you really have to dive in to the state aid reports. Verify the data. Data's taken from different points in the year, so you really have to look at the numbers so that you can accurately project. And then our pension rates aren't finalized until later in the season. So there are a few things that could change.
So do you think when we're talking about the next budget topic, in the beginning of that, maybe briefly say or indicate what
Absolutely,
previous, something we discussed where it changed or still are now?
absolutely.
All right, all right. Okay. Okay. All right, well, thank you very much, Denise. And we'll look forward to a change in our budget calendar, so we can kind of dive in a little bit more on each of these things and engage the community. So I think that's, it'll be a good shift. All right, so now I will turn it over to Molly Levitt, our student ex officio member.
Okay, problem is by the time we roll on to me, I'll. Improvise. Okay, but, no, just to get right into it. The whole distinguished graduation induction ceremony, it took place on November 10th, honoring Mallory Lefland, who has been on the NASA Mars rover team, and Joy Gresham, who is an artist and a professor and the executor of Lillian Hansberry's Literary Trust. It was very interesting, and the speeches were great, and then afterwards they were coming down to classes and talking with students and answering questions, and it was just a great experience. It's cool to know that they were once sitting where we've sat. Also, as people have mentioned, the CHHS Fall Musical, the 25th annual Button County Spelling Bee, ran from November 18th to 20th, and there was also a senior citizen preview on Thursday, the 17th. I thought of a bunch of really bad spelling jokes to tell. I'm gonna do everyone a favor and not say any of them. But yes.
Yeah, give us, yeah, give us one.
If you couldn't make it SUCKS to BQ.
Thank you for that, Molly. Yes, we asked.
Yeah, also parent teacher conferences have been taking place, and at the high school level, there's been a lot more student involvement. a lot more teachers have been asking students to join their parents at the parent-teacher conferences, which I think has just been a great way of preparing students for life after high school, and for a lot of students who go to college, that's how it's gonna be. It's not gonna be parent-teacher conferences, you're not gonna have your parents advocating for you. So I think it's a good thing that that's happening. Also, yesterday was the CHHS College Symposium. There were a bunch of workshops that were ran for high school students and their families, just about a lot of different aspects of the college application process, how to get financial aid, a lot of different, I remember going to the virtual symposium last year. I believe it was in person this year, which is great. But yeah, there's a lot of really helpful information in those, and I'm glad that that happens. Also upcoming is the CHHS Winter Concert on Tuesday, December 6th at 7 p.m. And also the CHHS Clothing Swap on Thursday, December 8th. That is a joint effort between Student Activism Club, Green Team, and Fashion Club. And for any high school students that are cleaning out their closets right now, if you have any old clothes that don't fit you anymore, or you just don't want to wear anymore, bring them to the cafeteria at 6:30 p.m. on December 8th, and you can bring what you can, and then you take what you need. When we had it last year, I actually got a lot of good clothes out of it. So seriously, it's great. Yeah, and also the next meeting of the CHHS Advisory Committee is on Thursday, December 15th. And that is basically, that is a participatory budgeting committee that meets. The first meeting was last month in November. And already there have been a lot of great ideas that have been thrown around for different initiatives that students have come up with to better the schools, and I'm really looking forward to the next meeting. And now I'm going to go into my little Student Faculty Congress update. First off, we have an update in the portal push notifications saga. It seems like a small thing, but it just fits into this larger idea of just the systems that we have nowadays and how they affect student mental health, and just how great focused we are. So students wanted push notifications, and the administration just wanted the portal to be totally shut down during the day. So we came to a compromise in the middle, which was the grade section of the portal will be shut down during the school day, but it will open up at 2:30 when helping period starts, so people can see their updated grades and go to their teachers if they need help. And then the push notifications will happen just after the school day ends. So yeah, we're going to implement that, and we're going to see how it goes. Also, this has been mentioned by now, but involvement with the PTSA, we've started discussing in Congress how we can be more involved, and ideas, and we will see where that goes. Really looking forward to that. And finally, I just did have to mention, please don't forget to vote for the capital, yes, on the capital bond proposition on Tuesday, December 13th, here from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Come anytime. Nick and I were on the committee that helped come up with the plan, and we're just really excited about it. Oh, and also I just had to clarify, I've seen apparently there has been a little bit of public skepticism, but I promise you, students want turf. Ask any student. No student wants to keep the grass. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just a question, probably for the public. You mentioned the participatory budgeting.
Mhm.
And I think we probably know what that is, but can you explain what that activity is and what the result is?
Yeah,
Hoping
okay.
to be, well, you, Nick, whoever.
Okay, so truthfully, I actually couldn't make it to the first meeting. So yeah, I mean, I knew Nick could make it, so he could probably like add on to what I have to say if I missed something. But basically, participatory budgeting is when we, as like the students, the group, the committee is given a certain amount of money, and we brainstorm and we come up with a lot of different ideas of basically just things around the school that we think the money could be best used for in different projects or new initiatives. It's basically just, yeah, I mean, am I missing something?
I mean, I was at the meeting where Dr. Dubac kind of elaborated on it, and it's everything that you say, and from beginning to end, so that you would take place in getting different quotes on prices and different vendors and negotiate it from beginning to end
Yeah.
as students. So it's a learning experience.
And I would just add, it's also a concrete way of ensuring that there's student voice involved in the development of the budget, right? And student vision and priorities are reflected in the school district's budget. So as part of the budget development calendar that Denise laid out, we want to make sure that we invite members of that team to come and be in front of the board and the public and talk about the work that they're engaged in, their vision for how this project will improve the student experience at the high school, and then how that relates to the broader budget.
Anything, I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Great
Thank
job.
you very much. Lauren. All right, we'll now move into new business. Recommended action that the Board of Education approves the 2022-2023 co-curricular club charter applications as presented.
So moved.
Second,
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose, abstain? Motion carries.
Josh Johnson.
Josh abstained.
I'd say.
All right, 3.2, recommended action that the Board of Education approves students and staff Explorers Club of the Croton Harmon High School to travel to Greece, June 26, 2023 through July 4th, 2023.
So moved.
second,
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose, abstain, motion carries. We will now move into instructional personnel. Recommended action that the Board of Education approves the side letter of agreement between the Croton Harmon Union Free School District and the Croton Teachers Association as presented.
So moved.
second,
On the question?
I would just like to take a minute and express gratitude to the Croton Teachers Association for moving so swiftly to implement this.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Oppose, abstain, motion carries. 4.2, recommended action that the Board of Education approves the appointment of Andrea Whalen, leave replacement for Kelly Ingraham from November 16, 2022 through December 23rd, 2022 at a daily rate of $302.62.
So moved.
second,
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose, abstain, motion carries. Recommended action that the Board of Education approves the side letter of agreement between the Croton Harmon Union Free School District and the Croton Teachers Association as presented.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? How's that? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain, motion carries. We'll now move into donations. Recommended action that the Board of Education gratefully accepts a donation from the Croton Harmon Education Foundation, CHEF, in the amount of $2,480 to hold a day in clay wheel throwing class for the Pierre Van Cortlandt Middle School 8th grade class. Would anyone like to move that?
So
moved.
Oh, my God.
Can I get a second? So,
second,
Omar seconds, okay.
So
Like who moved it?
Anna moved it, Omar second.
Thank you.
just hold on just one second.
Absolutely.
So this is one day when everybody's gonna be,
8th grade.
It's the
in
eighth
the
grade.
8th grade, they're all gonna be doing play wheel fly.
It's also fulfills Wendy Armstrong's, it's one of her passion projects.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's possible through that and through generous donation function.
I have no concern, and I know Wendy loves this. This-
All in favor?
Hi,
Aye. Oppose, abstain, motion carries. Thank you very much to Chef and to all of our donors that we have throughout the year. We greatly appreciate the donations you make on behalf of our students. We will now move into consent agenda. Recommended action that the board approves the consent agenda as approves all items on the consent agenda.
so moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain? Motion carries. All right, we are now moving into the closing of the meeting, and this will be our second hearing of the public. Again, we ask that if you would like to address the board, you do so at the podium and keep your comments to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Just an economic background to school budget hearings that are coming up. We're in an 8%, probably a 12% inflation environment, and in a recession, which means that the state of New York, which was flush with money, not their own money, federal money, part of the $13 trillion in federal money that's been dumped on the states over the last 3 years. This state runs a chronic deficit of $5 billion a year. And it's plugged those holes with federal money and been flush with money because it's been overwhelmed with money for the last 4 years. That's going to come to an end soon in a economic downturn. Second of all, labor contracts as they come up will be settled for 8% increases per year, probably multiple year contracts. Perfect example of that is the Rivera union contract is a 24% increase in salaries plus other benefits. Thirdly, that the state pension fund historically has taken a bath in bad economic times. If the stock market takes the plunge that it did in the early 2000s and was mismanaged. For instance, the county of Westchester saw its pension contributions rise by $100 million in 1 year. So that's the economic environment, which we may have to look forward to, and that's what you're going to budget in. Before I was serious about, I would like to see a COVID's lesson learned from this district, because one of the proposals is to make COVID vaccination part of the mandatory vaccination process in this state for all students and perhaps teachers too, which is a disaster. So we need to find out what you did wrong, what you did right during COVID epidemic, especially since nationwide test scores were disastrously affected, both in math and reading. So we need to know what happened really in this district and elsewhere also. By the way, I'd like to volunteer. Student government representative, distinguished representative asked for adult participation in their governmental meetings. I volunteer. I would love to be there as a member of the public. Whether one of the board members attains, that's up to them. But as a member of the public, I would love to participate in that. Not participate, just sit there and watch and listen. The most important item I'd like to speak, I don't have much time, is in the past, the committee chairman appointed his friend as the media and social media investigator. It was an inappropriate appointment. This I can speak a lot more about is an area of critical importance for privacy and many other things.
Thank you, Mr. Aaron.
Hello again. I would also like to talk a little bit about budgeting. I am here to express a little bit of enthusiasm for an increase in the use of participatory budgeting, specifically with students, as it provides two very good things: a student voice, which is something I'm very passionate about, the increase of, as well as a lesson on budgeting and budget making, which I also think is very important, specifically for high schoolers to learn as they get older, and start to do more things in the future. Something, yet again, short and sweet. Thank you. Thanks.
We will now move into board reports. I believe our audit and advocacy committees have not met yet. Though I do believe, Mary, you had a quick update on advocacy because we will be meeting soon.
Sure. Thanks, Sarah. Just one quick note, the advocacy meeting has reached out to a couple organizations, Westput and NISBA, to find out what other boards are doing and any templates they have on resolutions for healthy school meals for all your kids. They also call that universal school meals, so just like during COVID where breakfast, lunch were free. The resolution to support funding for that for schools for all kids. So the advocacy committee is going to put together a draft resolution, which is just like a statement that our board would support moving forward with that. And we're going to draft that, talk about it at the upcoming meeting on December 8th. And then bring that to the board at the January 5th business meeting. There's also a January 10th lobby day in Albany. If any board member wants to attend. Check with us and we'll give you the details.
And that is part of the NISBA, like
NISBA, right.
statewide lobby day on
That's right.
Jen. They also, the Capitol Conference will also be in the beginning of February, which will be virtual again. So people, everybody should have gotten an email about that from NISBA, so take a look at that.
Has there been any discussion in the advocacy committee regarding the discussion we had on any of the gun resolutions?
So we haven't met since then, so we'll be meeting on December 8th. So we haven't met since our last meeting.
Okay,
We discussed
so
anything.
will
So
you put that on your?
Put that on
agenda?
our agenda, I guess. Mary is the head of that committee, so Mary, we've been asked to talk about it.
Yeah,
It's planned.
thank you.
No problem. All right, and then was that it, Mary? So board development, as thank you all for really looking at their availability. We have confirmed the retreat for December 12th. So we are confirmed for that date. We'll get everybody materials and more information will be forthcoming. We're finalizing some of those materials so that Judy Wilson, who helped facilitate our strategic planning process, will be facilitating this retreat, and she will be sending us some information shortly. So keep an eye out for that.
And I understand it's looking at this, 5 to 8 p.m.
Correct, 5 to 8 p.m. All right, and we will be at the PVC library.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'll get to spend some time in the new space. Maybe, make some use out of the whiteboard tables.
Do you want to take a look at some of the departments?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you to the people who were able to, administrators and board members who were able to join us last week or 2 weeks ago now at Fratelli's. It's nice to be able to spend some time and get to catch up with people in a social setting and see how everybody's lives are going outside of sitting at the table. So thank you for everyone who was able to attend. And now we'll move on to communications.
So we met, obviously right now, a lot of the communication is centered around getting out information regarding where and when to vote on December 13th and providing information regarding the future facilities plan and the capital project vote. That was really the center of the conversation. Yeah, that's it.
Great. All right. Well, and while we're speaking of that, I just want to make a quick shout out and thank you to, I think it was the team at BOCES who put together the latest hard copy of the reflections, the bond issue. I received it in my mailbox yesterday. It's a fantastic new design. So kudos to them for getting that
And the
together.
paper, I like the paper. also.
Yeah, it was a nice newsletter.
That was it, right? Yeah.
All right.
I guess the only other thing that I would say from communications is in continuing our efforts to go and meet the public where the public is. If there's anyone who would ever like to have a board member attend a function to answer questions or anything like that, I would encourage you to reach out via our email. Because we would be happy to go to events, I think, to discuss what we do here.
Great. Thank you very much, Sean. Any other committees Matt, no, no. All right. So now we'll move into polling of the board. Does anyone have anything for polling? Anna?
Yeah, I have been attending the Student Faculty Congress meetings. I've attended two. I want to commend the Student Faculty Congress and all the administrators and faculty. I'm really been impressed with how students are interacting among administrators and community members and discussions regarding planning events and committee events. I was privy to the conversation this past Tuesday regarding the push notifications. And I think that there's a very important component that I heard coming from the students in the room, and that was the mental health aspect of parents having information during the school day while students did not, should this notification happen. I did also have a chuckle with Laura Dubak at the fact that at 2:30, when the notifications go on, this might affect hallway congestion, which is also something that was discussed at this meeting. But it did occur to me that as a board, we might do something to create a forum by which we can educate parents regarding how this technology impacts their students and our students. And what we can do as a community to really safeguard and be consistent with our efforts to talk about redirecting attitudes regarding grading and things like that. I don't know how we could do that, which is why I'm bringing it up now, pulling of the board. But it does seem to me to be like a more global issue, some of the information that we're privy to regarding grading. And I was just really impressed that our students were able to advocate for themselves on that behalf. It is a mental health issue. There's a lot of anxiety and stress, and for them to be getting text messages from their parents during the school day regarding a grade that's posted that parents have access to, while students don't have, it kind of like circumvents the whole point of turning off push notifications to our students during the day. So something to think about. And then I did attend last night the college symposium that our guidance team put together, and was very impressed that we were able to fill the auditorium with about 200 parents and students. There was a great discussion. I think regarding there was discussion amongst families that I witnessed, at least, about like students going to what was interesting to them, and then parents being able to go and see what was interesting to them. So I think it was amazing that this was available to both parents and students. And then I was also impressed with Mr. Maxim's presentation regarding our website on the Croton Harmon district page, and all of the information there for parents and even like a roadmap for our future students regarding when to start the process and how to start that. So that's what I got.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else have anything for polling? Neil?
I attended the Croton Harmon High School Building Planning Council meeting today, and discussion was centered on a debrief of the Hall of Distinguished Graduates ceremony, and the day also the selection process and the nomination process, and how modifications, changes might be made for the next time, because it's a chance to think about how it could be done better, both on the day of and also how we get to the point of selecting the honorees. And there were a number of very interesting and I think worthy suggestions, many of them from the student attendees, that I know are going to be cataloged and kept in the file for when the process starts up again in a year or 2 years, or whenever the next group will be selected. Other than that, there was some discussion about how the proposed facilities plan, which will be before the voters in 12 days, 13 days, whatever it is, how that would affect different areas within the high school.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Omar?
We had the PVC Building Planning Council meeting today. The theme we are tackling this year is transition. From elementary school to middle school, from seventh grade to eighth grade. And we talked about three things that may help parents in the community. And students. I mean, one idea was we're drafting a new FAQ with links in there so that while the information is on the website, it's hard to find sometimes. So kind of a 2 or 3 pager FAQ with links that would take you to more information that's helpful for folks. We talked about having a parent liaison, somebody that has been through it, knows all the nooks and crannies, so to speak, that can be a resource for other parents. Honestly, I think this is the most exciting, as Mr. Faulkner was thinking about talking with 8th graders about their experiences and reflecting on their journey and how could, what are things that worked well for them, what are the things they wish they had started earlier, or things that they would have wished they knew. I think this is great. It would really inform the work that we do for next academic year and helping students with the transition.
That's interesting, because we've talked about having exit interviews with the graduating seniors.
Yeah.
So did you
Yeah.
do that on a school level?
Yeah.
Well, it's not probably possible at CET, but like at PVC.
It's good stuff.
Very good. Anyone else have anything for it? I will say, just
I
a
think
quick shout out on December 5th from 6:30. So Monday at 6:30 p.m. Virtually will be the panel presentation Westput is putting together. I think I sent you all or forwarded you all an email on that. I will be attending on Monday, and I would heartily encourage anyone else who is available to as well. Yes.
There is something else on polling that
Okay.
I think we should mention, and that is on November 15th. Superintendent and board members and met with the village.
Oh, yes.
We met with
My apologies.
November
Yes, we
15th,
did.
we met with the village. I don't know if my notes are here. Yeah, we talked about the future facilities project.
Yep.
We talked about the fact that the village next year will be celebrating its 125th anniversary of its founding. And one of the things that they want to do is to reenact the founding meeting at which there were 3 people in period costumes. And they actually asked if we would be willing to allow this reenactment to take place in the high school auditorium. They didn't say that the audience must also come in period costumes. And I'm not sure exactly what the period costumes in 1898 are, but apparently they are intending for a large celebration spanning the entire year. We will hear more about that. We also talked about what's happening with regard to the planned and in progress multi-unit residential projects in the district. And the timeline for when those projects may begin to take shape. Shovels in the ground, etc. Nothing that will affect our budget for 23-24. May affect our budget for 24-25, both in terms of, I'm talking about the Katz property, in terms of pilot payments coming to the district, and potentially in terms of increased student enrollment from the residents of that project and the other one on North Riverside.
Yeah, that project, I vaguely recall we discussed this last year, that the school building has the capacity to accommodate more students if Did we have that discussion?
So we've had discussions about what, you know, changes, or additional
Demand on.
additional demand
space.
on space.
And class size.
Yeah.
Increasing class size. we
Right.
discussed that, so.
And our discussion was that, I think back then, and I don't see any reason why that would have changed, that we would, as a district, be able to accommodate the additional enrollment of from the 33 apartments that are 11 one-bedroom, 11 two-bedroom, 11
No.
three-bedroom at the Katz property, and the 20.
That plan changed, and I think you're gonna go back and find out what the new allocation is gonna be. For the
No, that's been the plan for a while. Now, probably about 12 or 15 months ago, the village and the developer agreed to, that the mix of one-bedroom, two-bedroom, and three-bedroom apartments would be changed to, as I've described it now, 11, 11, and 11. And I know the village and their environmental assessment team indicated a number of students that they thought would be coming into the district as a result of those apartments. That may be low, it may be high, we don't know, but I believe our feeling was, when I turned to the administration, that whatever that number is, we would have to capacity.
Yeah.
And the other construction, the one on North Riverside, where Cortland Hardware and Bestwood, South Riverside, where they used to be, is not quite as far along with certain construction related issues. And I'm not sure what that projection would be in terms of the number of students that might come out of that property, but I do recollect that the mix is not with as many three-bedroom apartments, if any.
Mix had any three-bedroom.
Right, if any, yes. So, you know, it's gonna be probably fewer families with students that would, have an effect on our schools. And the other thing I will note is there's a whole lot of lots that formerly were empty that people over the last couple of years have been selling off and building or shoehorning apartments, or rather single-family homes into. And with turnover, generational turnover, I think, at least looking at Sunset Park, just across the street from me, there are a lot of little kids that are now running around our neighborhood, which
Young tigers.
young tigers. Well, we hope. So, you know, that I think may have as much of an effect.
We're also graduating older tigers.
We are. So I think did I miss anything?
You did not, no, I flipped open to my notes, so thank you very much for that.
Is
Yeah.
policy not?
We have not, it's,
Because-
that's on my head,
Oh,
but it's also, it's a matter of trying to get everybody's time.
Can I
Schedule.
ask that you consider revising? Did we figure out whether board term limits were a policy matter?
You're talking about term limits in terms of,
Like the 3-year term the board members have? Is that a policy?
are you suggesting that the 3 years is not the right length? Or you-
Correct, that is. what
I
she said.
am suggesting that, yes. I have had conversations regarding examining the right amount of time for a board member, given the substantial time investment in actually being a board member, to extend it from being 3 years to possibly 5. I know that White Plains and some other school districts have done that, or give you more information regarding that.
Well, that raises a question, which is first, whether
I think it's something you have to handle in committee that I don't want to really discuss.
No, I
here,
just
but
want to say there may be, and I don't know this, there may be statutory
Right,
limitations.
which is why I asked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And White Plains is a city school district, and one of the things that we have dealt with in advocacy and NISBA is the fact that there are certain rules that cover small city school districts that are different than cover Union Free School District,
Fascinating.
so.
I'd love to.
You do, we should look into it.
Committee.
I was gonna say, that's something you could.
Fascinating.
In policy,
Okay,
that's something to consider.
Thank you.
All right. Great, well, with that, then we will move into items needed for the next Board of Education meeting. So the next meeting will be December 15th. That is our probationary review that will be in executive session. And it will take place at the district office.
Yep.
So that starts at 7 p.m. versus our normal start time of 7:30 p.m. And we will also, we actually will have a public session at the beginning of that meeting. Because we will have acceptance of the vote. And then we may have a few other action items we need to work through before we head into executive session. So
The 15th district office.
15th district office, 7 p.m.
It is on that day. Where
It's on that day. We will have it at the district office as well.
Thank you.
Is that 6?
67.
All right. Does anyone have any questions? Right now? All right, well then, with that, recommended action with the Board of Education adjourns at so close,
Sorry.
so close. What's up?
You need to pay it.
You didn't think it was gonna be. but-
This is a surprise.
Just to get a sense of, does the administration have any idea when they'll be able to report on the annual report?
On the, I'm sorry?
Annual report.
Oh, the annual report.
That hasn't been on our radar in the past couple.
I know
of
you
weeks
guys
so far, but
are swamped with other
we'll
things, I just want. to
make some time to follow up on that. We'll get the board an update.
Thank you.
All right, now then, I'm gonna try it again. Recommended action with the Board of Education adjourns at 8:54 p.m.
So moved.
Josh moved. Can I get a second?
Second.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion carries. All right, thank you very much. Have a lovely evening, everyone.
That's nice.